Hello and welcome to my channel, Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy.
In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this lovely chevron top. I like the design and the look of the chevron. I think it's really nice. This is how we look. And this is for a woman size small. I want to show you others that I've made. And of course, this is the woman small that we're making. And this is the yarn that I used to make this one. I got it from the local yarn store that I have around my area. And this is how it is. But when I went back into the store to look for similar one with different color, because I like the feel of this yarn, and this is how it looks when you're working with it. Look like actually sewing thread all just come together, 5 or 6 strand, and that's it. And this is actually 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, but it feels very nice and light. So I would have liked to have did the tutorial in this and actually be this as our supply, but I can't find the similar product, so that's why I didn't use this yarn in this tutorial. And with this ball of yarn, I was able to do, for the woman small in this size, only one ball of yarn basically I used, and a little bit of the other yarn just to complete the neck area and to do the band of our, the band around the bottom of our top. This is the other one I created. It's just my practice one. With this one, the yarn I use is also from Hobby Lobby, and it's the light 3, and it's 100% acrylic. And that's the difference. And you could see with the beauty of the chevron, you could, with this one I changed the different color yarn. This yarn did not change like this yarn, because you see how it changes by itself. It adjusts. But this one I use different yarn to make the colors. With that, you would just have to weave in more end. But here I was doing every 4th row, I was doing with a different color yarn. That's the difference. And for me, when I'm wearing it, when I put it on, I like my band from my bottom of my garment to be more tight than loose. So this one is 100% cotton. It stays that way. It's not going to stretch. So when you're doing it, if you use the type of yarn, make sure, try it on before you finish up and close up everything, that it can stretch and get on you. Or if not, you got to take it off before you start doing the actual rows that we're going to do to make the band for the bottom of our chevron top. Because with me, I did less single crochet when we started. For you, you probably need to do more, and then it gives you a bigger and nicer stretch for the bottom. So that's just a word of caution for you. And when we crochet around the neck area, the neck opening area, I would also like to let you know that you would use single crochet, slip stitch, half double crochet, and double crochet, and you get to see, because when I sew it up to where I like it. If you like it to be lower or higher up, the opening for your neck area, that will make a difference where you actually start when you join your yarn. If you're going to start in the valley or peak, or if you're going to start with a triple crochet, a double crochet, or single crochet. But the idea of it is just that we're trying to match up our stitch, because the triple is a longer stitch, double goes long, single, you know, it gets smaller, and slip stitch even gets smaller. So it all depends on how or where you start. It will be probably different than what I show you in the tutorial, but we're just trying to make it look nice and match up for it. So we use triple, double, single, and slip stitch to get into the valleys and the peak.
Here is the measurement for our chevron top.
These are supplies you're going to be using. The yarn that we're using is Yarn Bee. It's the Sugarwheel Cotton. I purchased this one at Hobby Lobby. Okay, and it's 100% cotton. And in this ball of yarn, it's 335 yards. It's a light 3. And the color name is Honey. It's homemade. And then they have 30 with it. Okay, so that's for our yarn. I go into more detail about it, but let's move on. We're going to be using a yarn needle, stitch marker, and our hook is the 4.0 millimeter. It's also the US G6. Okay, if you need it to reference that way. And lastly, our scissors. So that's it for supplies. Let's get started. And to complete our project, we need 3 balls of yarn. Because when we make the woman size small top, we're going to be using 1 ball to complete 1 panel. Because when we make our top, we're going to make it in 2 panels that will form the back and the front at the same time. And to actually finish off the top, to make it look professional, we do need another ball, but we don't need the whole thing. So make sure you get 3 balls of yarn to complete our project. To start off, we have to get our yarn attached to our hook. And this is how I do my slip knot stitch. If you have another way of doing it, you go right ahead and use it. So what I do, I take the yarn, drape it over my fingers. I let the working yarn fall to the back, take my hook, put it between my 2 fingers, and I pull up a loop of yarn. And I have a little knot. Take that little knot and just tighten it against my hook. So that's all we're doing, just trying to get a little knot. And that's how we attach our yarn to our hook. Usually when we start a project, we start with chain and then we move on. But for this project, what we're going to do, we're going to start with the foundation single crochet. And then that will combine our row with the chain and our row when we start with the single crochet. I'll show you how we do it, but let me show you in case you don't want to do or start off with the foundation single crochet, you just want to start off with chain. Because if you never tried it before, never practiced, it's kind of little, you will see like, where do I put my hook? Where do I go? So for the chain is just simply you yarn over your hook and you pull through, yarn over your hook and pull through, yarn over your hook and pull through. And that's how simple it is to do a chain. You see it shapes like a V. For this project, you would need 184 chain. And then you have to come back and do single crochet into those chain. And if I'll just show you how you would do that. You would go into the, usually use the, because this would be the first stitch worm or hook. This is the second stitch worm or hook. So you go in there and then you pull up a loop of yarn and then 2 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, and you pull straight across. And that's a single crochet. And you do that for the other remaining chain that you have, the pattern tells you to do. And then you yarn over, and then you pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across. And that's what you would do, or how many times you need to do it. But for this project, we're not going to do that. So now for this pattern, we're going to do the foundation single crochet. And you see how it comes out. You need 2 chains to start off with. I showed you how to do the chain earlier. I'll show you again. Yarn over your hook, pull through, yarn over your hook, pull through. That's our 2 chain. What we're going to do now is going to go into the second chain from our hook. Remember, this is the first one. It shapes like a V. And the second one is here. So you go into that and you're going to use, just go into the front and then also go into the back little bar that we have in the back of that first chain that we made. And make sure you put your hook under those 2. So you have like 3 loops on your hook. Now you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull across the first 2. There you go. Yarn over and pull across the first loop that we have on our hook there. There you go. Yarn over and pull across the last 2. And that will make our single crochet. So when we first take off that first, this is how it looks. I know it's so hard to actually show you in camera what it looks like. You took that first loop off, that made like the chain, if we would have did the regular chain. And then the last loop we took off made that single crochet. Now when you look at it like this, it's so much little, where's the yarn? Where do you go next? The first one is usually like, if you figure that out, then the rest you got it okay. So the first one, we're going to use what we took off that first loop that made the chain. This one right here. You go under that. And you also need to do like when we first started, go back into that little bar that back there, that another loop back there. So you have those 2 loops on your hook. Then you yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull across the first loop. That will make our chain. So that's where we're going to come back into when we're doing the next foundation single crochet. So that piece right there, if you want to, hold on to it. Or some people put stitch markers there to know where to come back in. Then yarn over your hook, and you're going to complete. Now this will make the single crochet you complete. Pull across. That's it. So far we made 2 foundation single crochet. Move on again, I'll show you. Turn it. So we're turning it. We're working a little different than when we do the chain and how we work. So you're going to turn it. That's what I do. I turn it so I could find where we're going to place our hook again to pick up the stitches that we need. So now, remember that when we first took off that loop, so you grab that part, that loop right there, and you go in the back. So you're turning it so you could find it. Oop. You could use your finger to get in there because we need those 2 loops. Then yarn over, pull up that loop, loop. So now the next step, what we're going to do is actually going to be like this it's going to be the chain that we're doing because we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull across the first loop. That creates the chain, the bottom part of our work. That's our chain. And then to complete the foundation single crochet, you're going to yarn over and pull across the 2 loops we have remaining on our hook. And it would be the top part of our work. That's the single crochet. A little strange doing it, like I said, but we're just going to practice, and that's all you need to do is to practice to do it. Because with this project, we need 183. So by the time you finish that, you should have it. So again, you find front, go to the back, turn it so you could get in there. You're like underneath the V on the bottom of our work. Yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across the first loop, you make your chain, yarn over your hook, complete it, you make your single crochet. So that's all we're going to do. Do we get 183 of them? And we meet back up when you finish doing 183 of them. Okay, so this is how I look when I finish doing 183 of my foundation single crochet. I put my stitch marker in to help me remember how many I did. And remember, if you're doing the chain and then go back and do the single crochet, also need 183 by the time I come back around. And for doing that, we complete row 1. So now to move on to row 2, what you're going to do is just going to chain 1, and then you're going to turn your work. And for our first stitch right there, what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 single crochet in that first stitch. And I showed you how to do a single crochet already. So you've been doing it if you've been working back and doing the chain in a single crochet. So I'll show you just one more time, reminder. So you're going to yarn over your hook, go in that stitch, pull up that loop, yarn over and pull across. That's a single crochet. So we need another one, but before we do the other one, here I use my stitch marker too, so I don't lose that first stitch. I'm going to come back to do it, put my stitch marker there. That's what I use it for. Okay, so then one more single crochet. That's it. Now this will be the pattern that we're going to follow for row 2. Okay, so what you're going to do for the following 6 stitches, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet each of them, and then we meet back up. All right, so 1 single crochet in each of the 6 stitches. Okay, so we did that for 6 times. So now the next stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to skip that and go into the next stitch. 1 single crochet there. Just want to show you how it looks. Okay, then moving on. So the next 5 stitch, you're going to put 1 single crochet, and then we meet back up. Right, so we did that for 5 times, and now the next stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to put 3 single crochet in that stitch. So that's 1, go back down, put another 1, 2, another 1, 3. That's how we're looking so far. So that's the pattern we're going to follow. Show you again. So the first 6 stitch, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet. What I like to do though at this point, since we don't need the stitch marker here anymore, what I do is, since I started, I put that first one right there. I don't even close it, I just keep it open. But if you need to close it so you don't lose where we started, you could do that. Keep it open, and I'm going to do now 5 more, and then you do the you skip the 1, and then you do 6 more single crochet, and the 7th stitch you'll put 3 single crochet. So I'll do it again with you. So this is the pattern, so that's 1. So go ahead and do 5 more single crochet, and then we meet back up. See, and then that helps me because now when I put the stitch marker in there, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I know I'm on track. And the pattern again, remember you skip the next stitch and you go over here and you start doing again. I moved it now. I moved the stitch marker from there because this will be another set of 6 that we're going to do. So that's 1. So you do it 5 more times with 1 single crochet. Okay, so we did that. And of course, we use our stitch marker to help us. And we go again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the next step for the pattern is you're going to put 3 single crochet in this stitch. 1, 2, 3. And that's the pattern that we're going to follow. You see how it started to form out. I'm not going to show you how to do the others because that's it for the pattern for row 2. But I'm just going to show you this, the first stitch that I do here. To start over the pattern again, what I do is I take my stitch marker and I just move it here. Then I know I start that first set to do that pattern.
And at this point, what I like to do is to put a stitch marker to remind me where the front of my work is. So I flipped it to row 1, and I'm just going to eyeball the center of our work, and I'm going to put the stitch marker around the base of one of our stitch so that when I'm coming around to complete row 2, I just work around that stitch. And that's it. Now we made it to where our last stitch is to be made for row 2. And to follow the pattern, we have our stitch marker to remind us we did 6 single crochet. So the pattern would have been 3 single crochet. We put it into the next stitch. But being this is the last stitch, we're going to put only 2 single crochet, just like when we started row 2. So make sure you put 2 single crochet in the last stitch. And that's it for row 2. And at the completion of row 2, make sure you have 196 stitches before moving on.
Now to move on to row 3, all you're going to do is you're going to chain your 1 and turn your work. So now for row 3 to continue on, this pattern that we're going to do is going to be repeated. This is the only row that we're going to repeat, just this one row. Okay, so that for that first stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochet right in there, but for that first one, so I don't lose my first stitch right there, I put my stitch marker to remind me there, and I close that one up. So the next stitch, go right into that same one, because we put in 2 single crochet in the first stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be working in the back loop of our stitch. And as I said earlier, our stitch looks like it's shaped like a V. So this will be considered the front of our stitch, the first front loop. And this is the back loop of our stitch. So that's what we're going to be working in. So what I like to do is I like to just tilt it a little bit so that I could find it and work in there. So all we're going to do is the same pattern basically we did for row 2. The next following 6 stitch. So this will be 1. And of course I'm using the back loop. Okay. What it is. So you know how to do single crochet. So go ahead and use the back loop only. Right there. Right here. The back loop only for 6 times. Then we meet back up. Right. So we did that for 6 times. 1 single crochet. So now for this row, instead of skipping 1 stitch, we're going to skip 2 stitch. So it'd be 1, 2, you skip those, you go to the following, and all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in the remaining 5 stitch. So this is our first one, so this is 6. So you'll be 1, and remember 5 more, just put 1 single crochet. Now we did that for 6 times, 1 single crochet.
For the next stitch, you're going to put 3 single crochet.
Again, this is our pattern. Good. So I won't show you how to do the others because that's basically what we did for row 2. But remember, when you move on, instead of skipping 1, you skip 2, and then you continue on with the pattern. So go ahead and do that, and remember, use the back loop only. And when you get to the last stitch to do, I'll show you what to do there. So remember, now 6, 1 single crochet, skip 2, 6 single crochet, and then you increase by putting 3 single crochet. Now we made it to where we have that last stitch to do, and like we started, and this is the pattern, what we're going to do for the last and the first stitch. You're going to work it regular. You're not going to go in the back loops. Okay, so you're going to put 2 single crochet in our last and first stitch of each of our row. There you go. Make sure that when you complete row 3 and the following rows, you have your 196 stitches. So now to move on to row 4, you're going to chain your 1 and turn your work. And remember, everything that we did from row 3, we're going to continue working with. So you're going to put just the regular single crochet, not using the back loop for that first stitch. So for that first stitch, you're going to put 2 single crochet and then follow the pattern. Now for the remainder of our rows that we need to do, I'm not going to show you how to do it because everything that we did for row 3, we're doing for the following rows. That's it. So we're going to meet back up at row 29. So continue working. Of course, jot down where you're at. Keep a track of what row, because we're going to meet back up all the way to row 29. And I'm not going to show you how to do the rest because that's all we're going to do. Just follow what we did in row 3. And if you need to make, because this is the woman size small that we're doing tutorial, and you want to make it larger, the pattern consists of 14 plus 2. Because remember, it's 6 and 6 with the 2 that we skip and 1 we increase. So make sure you keep that in mind when you increase it with your numbers. And also too, for the row, because I'm stopping at row 29. If you need it larger for the woman size, the bust area, you will continue just doing more rows, and that's it. So keep that in mind. 14 is the pattern plus 2, and just increase more rows. So we did it. We made it up to row 29. Yeah, took us a while, but we got there. So all I'm left to do now, I'm going to show you how to fasten off. Is just going to chain your one, and that's it. And then you cut off your yarn, and we're finished. So I went ahead and cut off my yarn, and all you need to do now is to pull that through. The chain that we did, that's it. And that's how we fasten off and how we end off with our last row to do. So this is how we look when we finish doing one of our panels for our top, our chevron top. This is how we look so far. So now what you need to do is you need to go ahead and you have to make another one exactly as we did. So when you finish making two of them, we'll meet back up and then I'll show you what to do next. So now you have your two pieces made. What you're going to do, because remember I put my stitch marker to remind me where the front is. You're going to take your two front pieces and you're going to put them together. See, this is our front and this is our front of our piece. So that when our zigzag or our valley and our hill meet up so they could slide in into each other. Because we're going to sew it now. And we want to, this will be the front of our top, okay, that we're making. So we need to sew it up, but we need a spot open for our neck area. So what you're going to do is you're going to measure it off. So I put my stitch marker to help me guide me where I'm going to stop from sewing, because we're going to start sewing from the bottom, go up to where our neck area will be, and we stop, and then we start from the bottom up from the waist, and then we get to where the neck area opens. So I'm leaving unsewn 12 inches because this will be the center. So it'll be 6 from the front and 6 from the back that we leave unsewn. And now all that's left to do is to show you how I'm going to sew it. We're going to use the mattress stitch to sew it up, and I'll show you how we do that. And we're going to sew it on the right side. So make sure when you do it, you put it on the right side and line them up. And with the mattress stitch, we're going to sew on the right side. So since our yarn is not attached, this is how I'm going to attach it. So right now I'm just going to turn it towards me so I can see it. Just going to go that first loop right there, like we're doing underneath the single crochet we started. Just want to put a little knot right there. Then take my yarn needle. I'm going to use it as my sewing needle. Pull it so it gets attached right there. I'm just trying to hide it, make it look nice. All right, so be good there. All right. So now what you're going to do with the mattress stitch, you find the other side and you go like you were going to do another stitch under that single crochet. Go under there. See, we're attached. So now all we're going to do is go back one more time from where I started. I want to make sure it holds underneath. And then go back across and go to the next single crochet. So that's all we're going to do. And if you ever lace up a shoe, that's what it's doing. That's the effect of it. Go underneath, go back, there's a single crochet, go back across, find underneath, single crochet, next stitch, back and forth, forth. That's all we're doing. So this is what we're going to do for the two front side that we have to sew up. Got in my way. Tail back over. And of course I have my stitch marker to remind me where I'm going to stop. And I'll show you how when I stop, what I do. That's it. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then we meet up to where we put our stitch marker to remind us where to stop. And of course, make sure you keep the little valleys where they need to be with the peaks, valleys and peaks together. So now I made it to where my marker tells me to stop, because this will be your neck opening. I take out my last stitch marker reminder, and this will be my last mattress stitch I do. And since this is our right side of our work, what I'm going to do is just take my yarn needle and go inside, because I want to weave it inside. I want it to be showing outside. Now I could show you how I'm going to weave it inside. Use the stitch underneath. Pick up a few. There. Over. And I'm trying not to come out to the front of our work so it shows. Now one point. And I feel comfortable with it. I weaved it in enough. I just take the yarn needle, go through, do like a little knot, put it on. We're just trying to make it look nice as we go along, and we don't want to mess up the work we did from outside to show. That's all we're trying to do, hide our tail and make it look nice.
So I'm going to grab my scissors and cut off the tail, and that's it.
I just want to show you how it looks when we did that. And this is the front of our work. Came out pretty nice. So I'm not going to show you how to do the other side. So just do exactly what we did here. And then we'll meet back up and I'll show you what to do next.
Now we finished showing up the center of our top. So what we're going to do is you're going to fold your garment in half. And when you fold it in half, this will give you now where you can have the arm pit open area. So I went ahead and I did that already. So I folded, and when I folded on the wrong side because we're going to sew on the wrong side. And I went ahead and I put the stitch marker in to help guide me so I stay on point with, because now we're doing all the valleys and the peaks together, because before we were matching them up. So now everything stays, the valleys with the valley, because it's the front side and that's the other side, the back of your work. So you're going to keep and sew up till you get, I leave 7 inches unsewn. So that will be for the armhole area we leave open. So I did that side with how you show with our stitch markers, and it's going to be a little different on the other side. Let's see how they look. So I stop, see how it matches up with there where it stops. So this will be the peak and that will be the valley where I stop when I make it. For me, for my comfortable movement of it, like I said, it's 7 inches I leave unsewn, and this is for our armpit area. And then you match them up. I sew them. So I put them in the peaks on this side and the peaks on that side. But then when we stop, if we continue on, you will be in the valley for here. So that's what I did. So you could go ahead and do that to help guide you. And also go ahead and attach your yarn, and then I'll show you what to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, because here what we have is the peak and the valleys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it with the length of the valley, So I'm going to go across like this, and then the peak, we won't go up like we did when we were doing the center piece, but I'm going to keep it with the valley so it's even, because I like it. It looks better to me that way. Okay, so all we're going to do is do the regular sewing method. That's all we're going to do. So for this side, we're like down in the valley, and for the other side it will be a little different. So you see it when you do it. So for right now, I'm staying down here. And then now when I get closer up to where the peak is, I'm going to keep my, so it's like 3 to 2 rows down, I'm sewing in. If we were having the crochet row, keeping it down. And like you see, it's just the back and forth sewing method, just like this. That's all we're doing. So we're just going to take our time and do it. And of course we could leave the stitch marker in there because we're not going up that high up. So it's like 2 to 3 rows down when we get to the valley, the peak, excuse me. And then we stay, and then we just go by where we have. When we get to the valley, we could use the single crochet to guide us. And if you have another method of sewing, you could go ahead and use it, but I'm using the regular sewing method, just back and forth, in and out. So I made it to where I'm going to stop, because this is going to be my opening for my armhole. So what we're going to do is we're going to just do the same thing when we did the center. Just going to fasten off, and of course we're inside, so you could weave it in here and it won't be showing outside, and then you could have a nice clean edge. And that's all you're going to do. It's just going to weave it inside of our work. And then I'm just going to cut off my extra yarn that I have, and that's it. Now go ahead and do the other side. So I went ahead and I took out all of our stitch marker and I flipped it back to the right side, because now we're going to work on the bottom of our top. Now we're going to crochet around the bottom. So for us to do that, we have to join our yarn, and you're going to pick any side, because this is the side we just sewed up. So I'm going to use over here, and to join the yarn, just take the yarn, wrap it around a hook and pull through, and then you're going to chain 1, and that's it. And that's how easy it is to join our yarn. Now to single crochet around that first stitch that we just joined our yarn, we're going to use that as our first single crochet. You know how to do the single crochet, because that's what we've been doing. And I'm going to put a stitch marker there to help remind me where I started. If you can work without it, that's fine, but I'm going to put it there. So I'm going to place my single crochet in where it looks like a wave of, this is like the back loop when you look at it that we did. That's how it looks. So I'm going to use that as our point to place my single crochet. So it ends off here. I'm going to place 1 here. I'm going to not use here, but find over here where it matches up. So I'm going to go over here and place another single crochet, and then I'm going to go here, find the end of this row, go right in here and place another single crochet. So not there, but over here, place another single crochet. So that's all I'm going to do around. Another one here. That's that's how it's looking. So now I made it back to where my stitch marker is. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to join it, and to join it, take out stitch marker, or you can leave your stitch marker there and just go underneath of it. I'll take it out, go underneath that first single crochet we made, pull up a loop, and you're going to hold on to that loop and pull across the other loop that we have on our hook. And you could maneuver by using your fingers. There you go. So that's it for this. Will be our first row, although we did a round, I call it a row. So that's it for row 1. Now to start row 2, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 9, 1, 2. So I went ahead and put the stitch marker back there because I just want to keep a track of where I started with row 2 by doing those chain 9. Now our next step is we did our chain 9, so what we need to do is the second chain from our hook, we're going to place a single crochet. I'm going to use the back of the little bumps in the chain. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to do that. All right, so you go into the second chain and we're just going to put a single crochet there, and that's it. And then you're going to do that for 7 more times. So by doing that, make sure you have your 8 stitches before you move on. Okay, so now the next step is we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch that we did from round 1. So you know how to do a slip stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn our work. So we went ahead and we chain our 1 and we turn our work. So now this is going to be the pattern that we're going to be using. It's using the back loop again. Okay, so go ahead and use the back loop, and you're going to put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. So you're going to have 8 when you complete. So to help you, to guide you, you could put a stitch marker there, so you know that's 1, and then you're going to go to end, and remember it's only the back loop that we're using now moving forward. So by doing that, make sure you have 8 stitches, and that completion of that will be row 3. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. That's it for row 3. So now to start row 4, you're going to do is chain your 1 and turn your work. So for row 4, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet, but remember it's the back loop only. So that's 1. So we made it back to our top. So you can take out that stitch marker and make sure you have 8 going back down or back up, whatever you prefer. So now that's to complete row 4. Make sure you have your 8 stitches. So now for row 5, we're going to repeat what we did for row 3. Okay, you see you get the pattern and the hint of what we're doing. You're going to slip stitch to the next stitch. That's how we did. We started row 3. There it goes. Okay, and then don't forget to chain your 1, and then we're going to turn our work, and you're going to work in the back loop only. And remember, if you need help, you could put the stitch marker back into that first stitch you started with. So I'm not going to show you how to do the other rows so that we could meet back up and then we could join it, because that's how we're going to repeat. We're going to repeat row 3 and 4 back and forth, alternate them. So this is how I look, and now I made back up to where I said I was going to show you how to close it up. And see, when I put my stitch marker there to remember where I started, and then I slip stitch into this last single crochet when we made round 1. So now all we need to do is to close it up by using slip stitch. So I chain 1, and I'm going to just use each of our stitch to match up, and then we're going to just slip stitch it close. So first I'm going to go into, and we're using the back loops also too, all right? the back loops and just slip stitch it. And you know how to do the slip stitch because I showed you how to do the slip stitch earlier. And that's it. That's all we're going to do to close it up. So go ahead and do that. And when you finish that, we'll meet back up. So that's it for me, and that's how it looks. I think it came out pretty good. Not bad. So now all we need to do is fasten up. So what you're going to do is pull up a tail, grab my scissors and cut that off. And I'll show you how I weave that one in. So I attach my yarn needle to my yarn. So I'm going to go inside to weave it in, but I just want to grab more towards our crochet piece, not the band that we just did. I want it to be nice. It look nice when we do it. So pull it inside, and that's where we're going to weave it in now. It's basically what I showed you already, how I weave it in, but I just wanted to show you how I started. So you go ahead and you finish it, then we meet back up. This is how it looks when I finish weave it inside, and this is the outside, the right side of our work, and this is the inside of our work. So this will be the outside. Now what's left for us to do is to crochet around the chevron pattern. We're going to try our best to make it look nice as we worked along it, because I don't mind the chevron pattern for the where we have the armhole area. I don't mind that. That's fine by me. But if you want to leave it at this point and don't crochet around the neck, you could do that. It's up to you. But I'm going to show you how I do around the neck area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join the yarn and I turn it so I can work on it. So this is like the center of our neck open area. I'm going to join to the side right here, and I showed you how to join the yarn earlier. So just go ahead and do that. And for this area, you could go ahead and look it over first, because we see, for me, the peak is here and the valley is here. So when we do that, we want to match up our stitch to come out and look nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to be using single crochet, we're going to be using slip stitch and double crochets, half double crochet, and finally triple crochet to match up to our peaks that we have and the valleys. So you look at it and you decide if you have the same point that I have, and then you go from there. Because right now you see this up here is actually the peak, so I have to match it up to that. So I'm down here in the valley. So what I need to do now, I'm going to start off with, in that same stitch we just joined our yarn, I'm going to start off with a double crochet. And a double crochet is, you're going to yarn over your hook, go into that same stitch, and you're going to pull up a loop, and you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, and you're going to take off the first 2 loops. There you go, and you have 2 more loops remaining in your hook. Yarn over, and you pull straight across the last 2, and that's how you do a double crochet. We're going to do another double crochet. Show you again. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and the 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull across the first 2 loops, and then you have 2 more remaining, yarn over, and you pull straight across, and that's the double crochet. So now we're moving up. So I'm going to do 2 half double crochet, and a half double crochet is similar to double crochet. You yarn over your hook, go into that stitch, pull up a loop, and then you're going to pull across all 3 loops on your hook at the same time, and that's the half double crochet. Yarn over 1 more time, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, and those 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and you're going to pull straight across. And that's how we're making it to match up to our peak. And now you're going to do 2 single crochet, and you know how to do the single crochet. And the next 2 stitch, you're going to slip stitch into them, and the next 2 stitch you're going to do 2 single. So that's what you're going to do when you get to the valleys and peaks. Okay, you're going to do 2 of each, to match up. All right, so we did the 2 single. So now the next 2, you're going to do 2 half double in each of them. So that's 1. Do another half double. There you go. Let's see how it looks so far. So far, so good. So the next 2 stitch, we're going to do 2 double crochet in each of them. So now for the next stitch, what we're going to do there is 1 triple crochet. And the triple is you yarn over twice. And then you go into that stitch, you pull up a loop, and we're going to take off loops two at a time, okay? So yarn over your hook, take off 2, yarn over your hook, take off 2, yarn over your hook to complete it, take off 2. And that's your triple. Okay, so go ahead and do that pattern and look at it as you work. Make sure they look nice and match up, because now the next part is you would do 2 double, 2 half double, 2 single, 2 slip stitch, 2 single, 2 half double. That's how you go, and that's how we're going to make it to bring out our pattern, how it looks. I just wanted to show you too, what I'm going to do is going to put a little stitch marker, so it helps me to remind me this was our first double crochet we made. I also wanted to show you what to do when we get to the center of our neck on the other side. With my pattern, how I have it going for the women's size small, we end off with the double crochet, and then what I'm going to do is for the next 6 stitches, I'm going to put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. So I did 6 single crochet, and that makes a nice clean center for our neck. And now we could continue with the pattern. So now I made it almost to where we started. Got a stitch markers there to help us. So now we have 1, 2, 3. Well, I'll leave this one. I won't count this as a stitch. So I just do 3, and we're going to put single crochet in them, because I finish off with the pattern. When you find it, we was with the triple, 2 double, and you have 2 half double. So the remaining now, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to join it 3 with single crochet. And that's how we look. So now where our stitch marker is at, you don't have to take out the stitch marker. Could go right underneath with my hook. Then I take it out so I don't lose my spot. And then we join it by just doing a slip stitch. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut it off, our tail, and we're going to weave it inside. So I won't show you how to do that, because I've been showing you how to do that. And all you need to do is to go ahead and tuck in all the other tails that you have. That's it. We're all finished. Thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.